Hey everyone, how's it going? Today I'll be teaching you guys how to stay in newbie gains virtually forever. Alright, nobody will be telling you these things. Nobody's going to tell you about these principles and methods. Because mainstream gym influencers and media want you to stay skinny, fat, and weak. So then you can buy their program and then they give you the information and then you make it out of that plateau. Alright, lucky for you, I'm Vedant and I do not care about holding this information back. Because, one, I want more jacked, physically fit people around me. But two, it makes more business sense for me, personally, to give you this information for free. However, if you're unable to focus for like 20 minutes and sit through this video anyway, then you can sit exactly where you are. You can make some mediocre gains in your first year, and then you can plateau indefinitely. Because that's what would have happened if I didn't implement these training principles. This is honestly the most important video I'll probably make on this channel. And this is my second video. Okay? So without these training principles, I would be stuck with a super mid physique, and I would look like I've never lifted weights. Even 4 years in. Right now I'm 4 years in. Thank God I adopted these. So, in this video I'll be teaching you guys how you can design a training program using scientific principles I learned from not just my own experience, but from studying exercise science for over a year by myself. Alright? So, this is what I used to look like just a few years ago. And this is what I look like now. Okay, I would not be able to attain this physique and size without adopting the proper training methods and the proper training principles. I'd be stuck at 150 pounds. Here I'm 135 pounds. I would have gained 15 pounds of muscle and then I would have just plateaued indefinitely. That's what happens to most people. Alright? So first of all, let's talk about the average lifter's progress. Okay? Their lifting progress. So the average person, they make a crap ton of gains in their first year, right? So this tends to be like 10 pounds of muscle, maybe in 15 pounds. Elite genetics, you can get 20 pounds in your first year, but you can gain a lot of muscle in your first year just because your body is so not used to it, which is exactly what we'll talk about. Then they make some gains in the second year, maybe 7 pounds, 10 to 7 pounds, 7 to 10 pounds. Year 3, they gain maybe 5 pounds, and then over here they're just stuck with a mid-ass physique, and they either stop lifting, or they get help by buying a program, which is exactly how the fitness industry works, because they hide their information. They hide the correct way. Lifting is really simple, okay? And I'll be teaching you guys exactly how to structure your programs. I was stuck here for so long, in this plateau right here, like so long, 2 years I was here. I was eating enough, but I wasn't training right, because I didn't know the principles. I wasn't using mesocycles or periodization, which is what we're going to talk about today. If I implemented those into my training routine, I would have progress more like below, which is right here. If you implement mesocycles, this is what the progress is. It's almost linear, right? This right here is a logarithmic thing. So you'll make a lot of gains and then a logarithmic graph, right? You'll make a lot of gains in the starting and then you'll plateau right here. If you use mesocycles, your muscle gain can almost be linear. Of course, it's not actually exactly linear because you're not going to be gaining like 15 pounds of muscle like 10 years into lifting. That's impossible, right? But it's for your first few years, it's going to be like this. Seriously. Almost linear. I would have gained a crazy amount of muscle in all of my first 3 years. So I would have gained 15 here, like another like 10, 15 here, another 10 here, and then maybe like 7 within these 2 years right here. From 3 to 5, right? 7 to 10 right here. And that's exactly the trajectory I'm following right now. Right now, every time I go to the gym, I get stronger. Every single time I go to the gym, I've gained muscle. And it has to do with my training plan. Of course, diet matters a lot. Eat well, but you can be eating well and still not be gaining muscle and strength. This video is going to have a lot of graphs, by the way. So if you want me to speak over a video of, like Minecraft Steve jumping over Minecraft blocks with like the words there for you, just click off this video and watch something else. We're going to go deep into the science, and I'm going to explain to you exactly how this works, okay? This is specifically for people who want to learn how to 10x their training and make muscle gain progress very, very quickly, all right? So let's go ahead and get into the training plan. So first, we have to understand, why do we build muscle so quickly during the first year of lifting? All right, we'll go over the gas principle in a second. So let me just go back here. It's because our body, by the way, the question was, why do we build muscle so quickly during our first year of lifting in newbie gains? Why? Well, the reason is, it's because our body faces a stimulus that's constantly repeated, right? So if you go to the gym once, you're not going to make any gains, right? But it's constantly repeated, that stimulus, and it's so new and foreign to the body that it believes that it's important for the body itself to dedicate significant amount of protein, resources, and tissue it has within itself to help to achieve that goal. So the body sees it as something very dangerous. This is something that's threatening your survival because you're doing it every day and you're not strong enough, clearly, to do this, right? That's what your body sees. So the body just explodes with hormones and it works as fast as possible to make sure that what you're doing is sustainable because it believes you're doing it for survival. So if you've never lifted before and it's just so strange and foreign to your body's going to explode with all of these different adaptations, going to start building muscle, right? That's how Newbie Gains works in the first year. Now, in a perfect world, Newbie Gains would work indefinitely, but that's definitely not how it works, right? We've seen, like, this is the graph for most people. First year, then it just stops. The body just kind of gives up, right? So no, it's not about progressive overload. A lot of people just say, oh, keep increasing the weight every time you go to the gym, and you'll gain more muscle. You can slightly increase the weight each time, but at some point, your body will be like, okay, we are strong enough to do this movement well. And when you try to progressive overload with like 2.5 pounds or just like a little bit of weight the next workout, it's just not dangerous enough for your body to be like, let's dedicate some resources to it. It's not dangerous enough. And if, on the other hand, if you try to add like a shit ton of weight, like if you add 10 pounds to each side or 20 pounds to each side of the bar, right? You won't do enough reps. You won't be able to do enough reps for your body to consider it valuable enough to spend resources on protein on. Okay, so it needs to be constant stress. If you just do a few reps of really heavy weight, like 2, 3, 4, 5, less than 8 reps, your body's not going to consider it worthy of building more muscle. So the main thing you have to know, to constantly make gains, you need to constantly make your body believe you need more muscle for survival. You need to, like in Newbie Gains, shock it and terrorize it and make it feel in danger enough to want to adapt like that. And that's how you consistently make hella gains. And that's how you stay on Newbie Gains forever. So now we're going to go into the GAS principle. Okay? Let me introduce this concept of the GAS principle. GAS stands for General Adaptation Syndrome. This is the foundational way your body adapts to a new stimulus. You can manipulate this to literally always stay on Newbie Gains. This is the golden formula right here. Okay? So there are 3 phases of the GAS principle. There is alarm, there's adaptation, and there's exhaustion. Okay? This is also going to be the structure you're going to use to plan your training cycles. Okay? You're going to base it off this. Whenever you start a new workout program with sufficiently abnormal stimulus, and we'll define what sufficiently abnormal is, because you can try to change things up, but that doesn't mean it's going to be sufficiently abnormal, right? But whenever you do start a new workout program with, like, let's say you've switched from push-pull legs to like the Arnold split or something, right? That you're basically trying to change your stimulus. When you have a workout program with sufficiently abnormal stimulus, this phase occurs. Okay, this whole thing occurs. So first, alarm. Your body's like, what the hell, right? It has this new stimulus. It's scared. It's in danger. It won't really do anything for the first 2 weeks, just to check. So always, whenever you get onto a new mesocycle, which are going to be these training cycles we're going to model, the first 2 weeks you will make no gains, no muscle gains, because your body still has to make sure that this is a threat to your survival, and you're feeling it constantly. It's a constant threat to your survival. So in the first 2 weeks, you're not going to make any muscle gains. Okay? You might gain some strength. You might gain some muscle strength. That's because of a neuromuscular connection. That's just your brain. Your brain gets better at controlling the muscle cells, and that's why you might get stronger. Usually it's about like form. Your form gets better. Even subconsciously, you just, start gripping it more properly. And that's why you might increase in weight in the alarm phase. But if we're looking at the y-axis, which is muscle gain, you will not gain muscle for the first 2 weeks of any program you ever try. Every time you switch something up, you will not gain muscle for the first 2 weeks. Okay? After 2 weeks, your body decides that this is a threat to your survival. And here's where the golden age starts. This is what you want right here. Adaptation. This is where all the gains are made. Here's where all the muscle is built. And you go absolutely insane here. Okay? And by insane, I mean you build an insane amount of muscle. Let me put it like that. So at this time, you are in the exact same physiological state as you were when you were on Newbie Gains, when you first started lifting. And if you are just started lifting, you can stack this effect. So you will be building muscle even faster, okay? This state right here, adaptation state, is when your body's like, what? Let's get better for this threat, right? It's going to adapt, and guess what? What's the adaptation to heavy weights? It's muscle. So you are going to build a lot of muscle here. From week 2 to 6, you will get stronger, not just mentally, but you will generally get stronger because you're getting bigger as you attack your body with more and more weight. So here you keep, every time you show up at the gym, increase the weight, increase the weight, increase the weight. This is where progressive overload works. This is where that advice works. So keep progressively overloading here, and you will get bigger and stronger. Now, after 6 weeks, it could be 8 weeks, genetics play a huge role in it. So 6 to 8 weeks, usually that's when people's adaptation phase runs out. This is where the people make the most mistakes, okay? People over here, after 6 weeks of a training program, so let's just say I'm doing push-pull legs, they will continue push-pull legs. They will just keep doing push-pull legs, and look at the gains. The gains immediately start plateauing, right? They immediately start doing, they stay doing push-pull legs. They continue their same training cycle, or they just slightly change it, maybe change the one exercise, change the reps a little bit, right? That's not how it works. You're not going to keep adapting. You're not going to just keep making linear gains on adaptation if you just keep doing the same training cycle. You cannot do that. Because here your body's like, okay, I've adapted enough. I've used enough resources. You should be able to defeat the threat now. Okay? Your body believes it's adapted enough. You should be able to survive whatever situation you keep throwing at it. So you keep trying to progressive overload, and you keep trying to force your body to adapt. But at this point, your body is not convinced. You will notice an immediate slowness in the speed at which you're gaining muscle, which a lot of people think is just normal. I haven't slowed down my strength or muscle gains at all because I've been implementing this process. I did when I wasn't implementing it, but now it's just, I feel like I'm newbie gains again, which I am. I used to run push-pull legs for like 2 years straight in my first 2 years of lifting. My first year I gained 10 pounds of muscle, then my second year I gained like nothing, maybe like 5 pounds. If I optimized it, I could have had 15 pounds my first year, maybe 10 pounds my second year. So now you understand that you need to be switching up your training stimulus every 6 weeks, right? I hope that's clear now. Okay, first of all, how would we structure this training cycle? So first of all, you need to be taking a deload week. This is a really important concept. All the professional bodybuilders used it, though I don't see anyone else using a deload, which is kind of stupid. But after your 6 weeks are up, make sure to just track it. I would just recommend 6 weeks. Some people can take 8 weeks, but it's very rare. Just do 6 weeks, okay? After 6 weeks of training, take 1 week, week 7, 6 to 7. What you're going to do is you're going to take a week where you just don't work out. Nothing. You can either do nothing, or there's something called active recovery, where you go to the gym, you do the same exercises you're doing, but only for 70% of the weight, and only for 2 sets max. The purpose of this is to just get some blood flow to the muscles. So, you're just using the muscles, right? The blood flow helps recover faster. A deload is just for recovery. You're not trying to get sore here. You're not trying to do anything. You should do active, go do some running, whatever. Just be active, have blood flow, but do not be lifting weights. Do not be destroying your body. Do not be tiring it out, okay? You should not be struggling or even trying to feel the muscle. Just do the movement with 70% of the weight, or don't do anything at all, or just do some like running. Blood flow is all you need. This gives your muscles some recovery and rest from the previous 6 weeks of battering that you just gave it, so that you can stress them out again a week later. We want to start the cycle again a week later, right? And this takes a lot of resources and a lot of energy from the body, so give it some rest. Always give it some rest. Otherwise, not only will your body start getting smaller because there's too much stress, and by the way, stress, cortisol, makes you smaller, by the way. So you don't want any stress in your body. But also, your mental will start feeling tired, because that stress trickles into your brain as well. So this all has to do with your nervous system. So please take a deload. Do not skip the deload, okay? So once you know about the deload, let's talk about what I said earlier, which is a significantly abnormal stimuli. How do you trigger this phase, right? Now you understand this phase. Now you understand what to do in this phase. How do you trigger this phase? Well, there are 3 things you can do. There's more, but I don't recommend them. For example, reps. A lot of people say, change the amount of reps you do. I don't recommend ever doing less or more than 8 to 12 reps on any movement. So don't do less than 8 reps. Don't do more than 12 reps on any movement. We'll talk about this in a different video, but just stay in that rep range, 8 to 12. That's the best for muscle growth. Other rep ranges lead to different adaptations, which you might not want, right, as a bodybuilder. So that's a topic for a different day. But with these variables, tempo, exercise selection, and volume, you should be able to change up your training mesocycle enough to stimulate a new alarm phase. So what that means is you change the tempo. So let's say, and you want to incorporate all of them. You don't want to just, do one of them. So what you want to do is you want to change the speed at which you do reps. Okay? You want to change the exercises you're doing. So you want to do different exercises, or you jumble up the order in which you're doing that. That also confuses the body. But you also want to make sure you're adding new exercises or interchanging new exercises. You can also change muscle groups. Sometimes you can just maintain a muscle group instead of, trying to make it bigger. So what you can do is you can, for example, just maintain your biceps for 1 week. So what you do is just do like minimal sets. Do 4 sets that week for biceps only. 4 sets is all you need to maintain something, right? And then you put more exercises for triceps, which you want to explode. So that leads us to volume. So increase the sets in the things you want to focus, decrease the sets in the things you don't want to focus for that cycle. Then you can keep changing it up. So let's go ahead and recap. Train in mesocycles for no more than 6 weeks, okay? The gas principle, it showcases the entire mesocycle. That's how it should be. And include a deload week, okay? Switch up your tempo, exercise selection, or volume in between mesocycles, okay? That's what you should take away, and that's how you should build your exercise programming, your exercise program. This is so useful and nobody talks about it, but I'm telling you, everyone at the top, all the big bodybuilders use it, okay? So that's it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it and found it valuable. Respect if you were able to sit all the way through it. If you want me to make a custom workout plan for you, and if you want to build your dream physique and get a pre-made custom meal plan, you can work with me one-on-one by clicking the first link in the description to see if you qualify, and then you can book a call. But with that said, I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.